welcome back to my channel. It's Just Read VI and I am back with another video. Welcome back, you guys. I'm so happy to be back. We're in November, we're literally to the end. It's the end of fall and we're reining in with winter and Christmas and all of that other holiday cheer. So happy belated Thanksgiving to you guys. As you guys can see, this month has been interesting. I now have braces. I am working on correcting my smile, so I'm really excited about that. Still a little self-conscious and definitely working through it with the comfortability, me speaking, really having to open my mouth widely because of the braces. So definitely bear with me. Leave me any tips, tricks, whatever in the comments below, or just even positive words that, somebody new dealing with braces would be overcoming, or, any of that stuff. So I appreciate that. Welcome back to my readers. I love you endlessly. As you always know, I'm just so thankful for your support. And everyone new, anybody that's new to become a reader, definitely hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and definitely be sure to hit the notification button so that you could know immediately when I upload videos. I do have an Instagram channel. It is an Instagram page. It is at Just Read VI. Definitely head over there. I post every week because I do reviews every week. So as you may not know, if you're new, I am doing a 100-book challenge that brought me to this whole YouTube channel and everything. I love talking about books and sharing the books that I read. Good reads. I love that so much. So definitely check me out there. Today I am going to be doing a quick recap of all my books that I read this month. I read a total of 9 books this month. So I realized that I was still coming up a little longer in December if I only read 8 books this month. So now I really only have 8 books for next month. With the holidays, that probably still might be a lot, but I'm going to push through and do my best because I am going to hit this 100 books. So, The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. This book was a fabulous book. A lot of depth in this book. It was just really amazing. I just highly recommend and suggest this book to anybody. It was so intense and sad that I almost cried. Like, wow. It was about this girl named Piccola and just her entire family, the Breedloves, and how the struggle to an understanding of what love and family really is. Her father raped her. That's something else I'm getting used to with the braces. Is just everything. But she was raped by her dad. She was really dark. She was in the book said to be unattractive / ugly. I was trying to get a picture in my head, but it was a little hard because I don't really think she was ugly. But she was a dark-skinned girl, really dark, and in that time, it was just a rough time. They were the beauty and self knowledge and understanding of who you is and your worth. It wasn't, the light was not being shined, especially on darker skinned people at that time. So she really struggled with that, and was just praying for blue eyes the entire book because she thought that would make her beautiful. In the end, she never gets them, but she had the belief of getting them, so that really made her feel like she had them. But she lost a baby, and it was just so much. It was just tragedy after tragedy after tragedy, really throughout the book. It was just really sad, especially after feeling negatively about her mother and father, and then seeing where they came from and why they were how they were. It was just so sad. So this book just had so much depth. Stories and stories and stories. I really appreciated that. My first read from Toni Morrison, and I was not disappointed at all. This book is critically acclaimed. It's just an amazing book. Highly recommended by so much people on so much top 10, top 100 books to read. This book is on every list almost. At least a lot of lists that I've seen. The top 10 books to read, top 100 books that you must read, that are just big, that were very impactful in the literature world. So I definitely had to read it. And yeah, definitely could everybody read this book? Absolutely. I really wanted to do a discussion and get deeper in this book, but because I wasn't able to film any time this month, I really only doing a recap. But I highly recommend this book, and absolutely everybody could read it. I definitely had some laughs at the jargon and some of the stuff that was said. It was funny too. It wasn't only sad, but the whole gist of it together was like, wow, you know. Just Read stars, highly recommend, 5 out of 5 stars. My next book, well, that was number 84. This book is number 85. Woman Last Seen in Her 30s. This book was by Camille Pagan. This book, like all of Camille Pagan's books, I'm learning is just always, they're always reasonable. There's always a lesson in her books. And when I say reasonable, I mean it's relative to everybody. They're so relatable. So this book is about a woman in her 30s, well, a woman in her 50s that was thinking about her 30s because of who she was in her 30s, because of who she became after having kids and a mom, and after being a wife, mom, all of that stuff. She kind of lost herself, and I wouldn't say she lost herself. I think this is a debatable book, but she got so wrapped up in the family life that she really didn't really do much self-care for herself. So with that being said, and her husband then decided to leave, I was like, I don't want this marriage anymore, which is crazy and sad, and just threw the book like, what? It was Blindsided at the very beginning, but like I say, she does this well. I enjoy every last book that I read by Camille Pagan. I'm actually reading a holiday book from her right now, which I'm excited about too. It's called The Wonderful Wife, I think. Yeah, so doing that right now, but she just always has layers in her books, and really her husband was just having a midlife crisis. So you get to follow her through the book as she deals with being better and coping with the divorce, because that didn't happen easy. She thought she could, keep him keep him in a marriage, and then she found out there was about other woman, but it really wasn't an other woman. It was a lot going on, but I really enjoyed it so much. Not at this stage in my life, not going through these things, and I hope to never go through it and experience it, but it was just amazing to read it and to see the different stages and the process of which she went through it. Really good book. Dislikes none. Would I recommend? Highly. Just Read stars, 5 out of 5. She doesn't disappoint, you guys. The next book is book number 86. It's just Room-maid by Sarah Wilson. So this book was a little more shallow. It was a cute romantic comedy, a lighter read. Madison come from wealth, very shallow girl, ends up needing a roommate, meets this guy, sleeps with him, supposed to be the roommate, but doesn't really know anything about cleaning or any stuff like that. So as you can imagine, there was some laughs there. Tyler is the gentleman's name, and he was very understanding and just really a sweet guy. They end up falling in love and living happily ever after together, taking it one day at a time, because some stuff transpired with her controlling parents, her mother specifically, just wanting to keep her into that realm of depending on her parents. So the fact that she was able to break out and do for herself, that didn't sit well with them. So Tyler worked for them, which he didn't really know. He didn't really see the connection. That's where the conflict in the story came about. But they worked it out, and it was a great book. I have to say that it was a good book. I'll share my favorite part. My favorite part was when Tyler confessed his love for Madison, which was cool because you saw the friendship growing, but you didn't really get to see him really falling for her. I was torn between, is he really falling for her, or is he just a friend? Is he just being a friend? So this was a good book. Would I recommend? Yes. Could everybody read this book? Yes. It was PG-13, nothing crazy at all. Just Read stars, 4 out of 5, because it was a good book, but it wasn't a great book. So yes, definitely on the funny side too. Moving on, I went into a little series, it was 2 books in this series. Hopefully she continues it because it was really good, but based on how it ended, I don't really think she is. But I have book number 87, and then I go into 88 by Treese Hickman. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. The Other Side, and 88 is Blindsided. But let's start with The Other Side. So The Other Side had me hooked. Like immediately, this book covered issues that most people don't go through. Like I've never heard of a micro penis, but that's what one of the ladies' husbands was, well, fiance experienced. So so it's about 3 ladies. Let me not get ahead of myself. Arizona, Tess, and Bernadette. So when I tell you, Arizona was dealing with her fiance, and her fiance and her were celibate, and they were planning on not having sex until they got married, which he was holding more true to because he didn't want her to find out about his condition. But you follow these 3 women and they go through their different relationship dramas. I'm going to spoil too much because I highly recommend these 2 books. They were so entertaining. I was hooked from the beginning. This book came out, The Other Side came out a couple years ago. And then Blindsided was this year. So must reads. Hilarious, very entertaining. You're going to be hooked. You're not going to put these books down. What I liked about these books, likes and dislikes. I didn't have any dislikes about this book, but I really liked the character development and the story following each woman. Each woman had a chapter, and it just followed them throughout the book, their lives, their partners. It was just so good, clean and crisp. And when I tell you she tells a phenomenal story, she tells a phenomenal story. Could everybody read this book? Yes, definitely PG-13. But everybody could read it. Well, adults. Moving on to book number 88, Blindsided by Therese Hickman. Wow. See, I even wrote wow. This book was a good story. Like, book 1 was good, but book 2 was phenomenal. Oh, by the way, they both get 5 out of 5 stars. Book 2 was phenomenal. Like, she blew everything just out the water. It was just amazing. You were reading and it was like a story was being, I know it's a story, but it was literally like it was a movie. It was just so amazing. So you follow the women on their happy ever afters, where they went. You get to see how stuff worked out with Arizona, because she ends up, you get to follow the stories. And a lot of different bombs and jewels were dropped. I really appreciated Bernadette's character because she was so wise, and she always had these jewels that she said to them of advice throughout the book, and I really valued and appreciated that. It just made for an even more conscious read, because there was a lot of craziness, but it made it conscious. Her character, definitely a page turner. This book just superseded my expectations. I highly recommend this series. I hope she continues it. My favorite part was when Bernadette found out that Coop didn't kill his nephew's father. That's the only little drop, little spoiler that I'm going to drop in this, because I really want you guys to read these books. I don't know if you've read it. If you're planning on reading it, I saw Blindsided was highly recommended. Kimberla Lawson Robbie posted it. I even saw Therese. She wrote Natalie Ever After, and I read another book from her too. She suggested it too, and it was just great. Trisha Thomas. My apologies, you guys. I ran out of battery space, so I had to. Well, not battery space. I ran out of filming space. So I had to go back in and figure a few things out, but I'm back. So yes, I highly recommend these 2 books by Therese Hickman. They were phenomenal reads. Like I said, Blindsided for sure has been the talk of the town since it released. Everybody was talking about it. Several authors I saw posted it. There was a panel going with Trisha Thomas. Kimberla Lawson Robbie has shared it several times and congratulated her. I could not have read these books separate, because there's no way I would have been able to wait to read this book. She is just an amazing storyteller. Highly, highly, highly recommend. It's like you're watching a movie. And moving on to book number 89, The Marriage Code by Brook Burrows. So for some reason, I found myself reading a lot of Indian books, like novels, rom-coms, and I'm really enjoying it. I've read quite a few this year. Definitely not something I would have done in the past. I just kind of was a stick to what I know. But reading this series has just opened me up to so much different genres. I'm like read quite a good bit of women fiction now. I've always loved romance. Romantic comedies is kind of new for me. I love them as well, so much. And then this interracial couple book which is a rom-com, but it was just such a beautiful story about two co-workers who end up falling in love and struggle to merge the different cultures. They didn't really struggle to merge. I think his family was so traditional. In traditional Indians, they really didn't want to open their mind up to anybody else coming in, and just their understanding of how, they operate, and they weren't really willing to change that. But it worked out so much in the end. They connected so deeply and fell in love, and it worked out. So it was a beautiful story, the story of Rishi and Emma. My likes and dislikes, I liked the plot. I didn't really have any dislikes. The story was well written. I really enjoyed that so much. Could everybody read this book? Absolutely. This was a great read. Definitely check this book out. Would I recommend? Absolutely. 5 out of 5 stars. Yes. Just read stars. And The Trouble Hating You is next, which is another Indian, book. Well, Indian author. And that's the thing, like, I could look at Sanjeev Patel's name and know and guess that that's somebody that's Indian. But Brooke Burrows, you threw me off. But nonetheless, I am enjoying it so much. The Trouble Hating You by Sanjeev Patel. I told you guys after reading First Love Take 2 that I would be obsessed with reading the rest of her books. And I had to read this book. It was on the docket. And I read it and I loved it so much. The story of Leah and Jayesh. This book, I'm not sure I put it on the screen already, but this book is a must read. Leah was just so independent. So Leah is Pretty's friend. I later learned that the books were connected, and this was the first one and that was the second one, but I didn't read it in order. That one was newer, so I read the newer book, not realizing it was kind of a series, which I really enjoy. I love a good series, as you guys know. So Leah is so independent, an independent woman. She don't need a man for nothing, just obnoxiously so. It came to that point, but when you learn why, because she was molested as a child, and it was somebody in the church, and it was kind of covered up, and her father didn't believe her, and her mother was too weak to really stand up to her father to defend her, you understand why she, has that masculine energy, and she has to be so rough and tough. But slowly but surely, believe me when I say it, slowly but surely, Jayesh broke those barriers, and they worked out. They were able to overcome their issues within themselves to then connect as lovers. Really good book. She just does such a good job with her character development. Her story is always flawless. I really enjoy that about Sanjeev Patel's books. It was just so much depth to the story. Do I have any dislikes? No, I do not. My favorite part, yes, this was definitely my favorite part, was when Jayesh defended Leah to her father and abuser. It was just so sad that her father didn't believe her, and he was taking the side of the accuser and really speaking down to her, to Jayesh. It was just so, so, so ridiculous. What I like with these two books, especially the marriage code, I'm going to go back a little, is I really like when the customs of a people, a culture comes about, and you go heavy in it. And this book, the marriage code, really dove into the different customs and the culture and the foods, as does The Trouble Hating You. So you get different aspects, but I enjoyed it so much. It was just really a good book. I highly recommend. Just read stars, 5 out of 5. Could everybody read this book? Yes, you can. Definitely PG-13, but I would definitely highly recommend it. It was a great love story. So definitely check Sanjeev Patel out if you haven't as yet. Read her books. They are amazing. If you are a sucker for love, you will love these books. That was book 90. So I am in the 90s. So moving on from that one is book 91, which is Rare Danger by Beverly Jenkins. This book was a good book, definitely short and sweet and to the point. A story of a librarian who kind of is pulled into a mystery. I'm not one for mysteries, but I've been waiting to read a book by Beverly Jenkins for forever. And she has a series that's running till now, and it's like over $100 to get a whole series. So I haven't even started because she'll put new books out in the series, and I'm tempted to read, but I have to start with book 1. So for that to happen, I'm gonna be waiting a minute before I really dive into doing that series, because as you guys know, I plan and I know what I'm reading. And this month is totally going to be, well, next month is totally going to be just holiday reads, Christmas. So I'm really excited about those. But so I have to plan to read her series, is basically what I'm saying. So I dove into this book because it's a standalone book, and it was a mystery / romance, which really was a mystery, but you had the element of romance in there. And I enjoyed it. It was such a good book. So a librarian caught up in a mystery of illegal activity with a business acquaintance that, she knew as like an uncle, which was really sad. And then the surprise element of romance really blew me away. Also, I really enjoyed it. However, I do feel like this book could have been a little longer so that it could have really developed the relationship, because the relationship was kind of forced and pushed really quickly because of how short the book was. But I did enjoy it nonetheless, and I would recommend it, and I still gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Could everybody read it? Absolutely. Definitely for the mystery readers, the lovers of mystery, this book is for you. Moving on to book number 92, the last book of this month. Remember, 9 books. And this book is 3 More Months by Sarah Echavade. I hope I pronounced that correctly. So I've read quite a few books from Sarah Echavade. This is probably my 3rd or 4th book from her for the year. And I like her books. Her books are good. This book was a lot different. It was definitely more filling. There was more depth to it. I wouldn't say her other books don't really have depth, but this book really had depth. It was a melancholy feeling. I cried at the beginning because her mom passed away, just like that, from a heart attack. When she was planning on visiting her that weekend, it just really ties into how short life is and how we cannot take people or things or moments for granted. So her mom passed away. Chloe is the main character's name. Her mom passed away. Her and her brother now deal with it. And she's really struggling because it happened so sudden. She got in a conversation with her mom like the day before or that day of, and her mother was bugging her about coming and visiting and spending time, and how she's not ever really around. And it was so heartbreaking because she really didn't get to be there as much because of how hard she was working. So it was just so sad, I really felt that. Nobody want to lose their mom. And she did nobody want to lose a parent, but, your mom is your mom, is your mom, is your mom. So it was just so heartbreaking. It was really sad, but there was a little ray of sunshine because she did get to have 3 more months with her mom, which was the element of surprise in the book, where she wasn't really dead and Chloe was just dreaming, but then she wasn't really dreaming. It was really real. And in the end, she was at the funeral about to do the eulogy, and so it was a lot of back and forth, and I really enjoyed that because it just showed the levels and layers that she could do. The layers is what I really meant. Definitely this book would be a great book to discuss. I feel like multiple perspectives. Sorry, still getting used to it. Multiple readers will have multiple perspectives. So I think this would be a fun book to discuss. My favorite part was her surprising her mom with the Hawaii trip, because that's where her mom wanted to go since forever and had to delay her plans because of kids and, her husband leaving her and just raising them on her own and just being a struggling single mom. So that trip meant so much to her. And, the 3 months meant a lot because she was able to get more time with her mom. And I got the whole gist of what she did. So like I said, this book was really a good book, a different read, a different type of read from Sarah Echavade, because she really I've only read rom-coms from her. So this was really nice to read and experience. Could everybody read this book? Absolutely. Definitely a melancholy read, but it just makes you think. It's thought-provoking too. What could I be doing more of? I always say I love you when I hang on the phone up, because you never know what could happen. So it's always those little things, those little things and those moments, we can't ever get time back. And that's why we have to make the most of it while we're here and make everybody we know and love, and even somebody off the street, feel appreciated and loved. And this is the season of Thanksgiving, and I hope you guys have been really utilizing that and expressing that to everybody, the gratitude and the love. I have so much to be thankful for, moving, past, present, moving forward into my future. I have so much to be thankful for, and I hope you guys move into each day with gratitude and thanksgiving unto God, because we are not promised another second. We're not promised another second, minute, hour, day. And for us to be moving and, moving through each day, we should be thriving. So that's always on my mind to keep doing, is how to increase, how to be better, and how to just show love. So remember, moving into the next day, if you don't remember anything else from this video, just move with love. Show love to your other fellow man. We're moving into the holidays, and this is a melancholy time for a lot of people that lost people or may lose people before the holiday season, and it's going to change for them. So try to be your best. You never know why someone's head is hanging low, or why someone might be grouchy at you in traffic or anywhere, in the grocery store, at work. Somebody that might come into your job that might be a patient or just a customer. So just always keep that in mind. And I love the holiday season, so moving forward, I'm just full-fledged. I am literally ending this video and I'm putting up my Christmas tree. I have some wreaths out already. I'm super excited. I am gonna have this video out for you guys probably today is Sunday, the 28th, November 28th and 28th. And I'm going to have this out either tomorrow or Tuesday the 30th. But I am just so happy to be back and to share this video with you. All of these books were fantastic. This is a super long video, but I read 9 books and I needed to discuss them because a lot of these books were heavier, and I enjoyed it so much because I love meaningful books. I love my rom-coms, but some books aren't just rom-coms and they have deeper meanings. And the authors like Sanjay Patel put so much into their books, which I love and adore. But yeah, I just wish you guys the best, nothing but the best. I will see you guys in the next video.